The truth about photography filters is that they're kind of a scam. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining why that is and why you actually only need 1.5 of them. I'll explain all that. Plus, I'm going to show you why you don't need the majority of filters, all that coming up. So let's break this video down into the three main types of filters for landscape photography that are out there. And we'll tackle these one by one and talk about why you don't need some and why you may need others and definitely need the other one. First up, let's look at the graduated ND filter. Now, if you look at this filter, it's basically like a piece of glass that you put in front of your camera, but there is a darkened top that goes gently into a clear translucent bottom. Now, for these filters, what they do is that they go over your lens like this and darken the top so that you can get a perfectly exposed sky and a perfectly exposed foreground or midground in the bottom of the photo. These are really great for sunrise or sunset photography, but current technology actually renders them completely useless. Let me show you exactly why. So if I look at this photo here, you can see that the trees are really dark and the sky is really bright. If you were to use a filter like this, you would use it to darken the sky. But here's where the problem comes in. There's no object reference in here where you could put this over your lens and it couldn't bleed into like covering up the peak of a mountain or something like that. I'll show you exactly what that would look like. So if I go to develop and then go to my masking, I could pull down a linear gradient and show you what that would look like in the photo. So here's what that would look like pretty much with what we have. So as you can see, that pretty much resembles exactly what this filter looks like. Now, if I turn this mask off and we can see what that looks like over top of this photo. So if I darken the sky, you can see that it also completely darkens the landscape. Now, here's why that's a problem, is because if you have no reference on here, you're now darkening trees, mountains, and it looks completely unnatural because it's not how your eyes saw it. Here's how to get around it in post-processing. If you come up here to this little plus icon, it's add to a mask. And what we want to do here is add a luminance range. Now for the luminance range, we're basically telling this mask, I only want to affect things within a specific range. So if anything is really bright, I don't want you to affect that. So we can set that to where that is within this mask range and pull that up to exactly where we want it to be, so just affecting a specific part of the photo. That helps us out because now we can only affect the sky and not have it bleed into the tree shadows, which is how you completely eliminate the need for a graduated ND filter. So don't spend your money on these because you can do it even better in post-processing. Now, maybe you're watching this and you're saying, what about like UV filters and all that? Please do not spend your money on UV filters. The only thing you're doing for that is putting another layer between your lens and the sensor, and all that's going to do is create a lot of lens refraction and issues. You want the least amount of objects between your lens and your sensor, and having a UV filter on there isn't going to do that. People try to sell you those to protect your lens, but that's what they make lens caps for. The next filter is an ND filter. Now, if you look at this, it's completely black. Like you can't see anything on that filter. What this does is it darkens your exposure so that you can then take long exposures of things and lengthen, streak things across the sky, create solid lakes and waterfalls that look super smooth. So why don't you need one of these? Well, you really only use this effect in about 1% of the photos unless long exposures is what you specialize in. I wouldn't say it's not good to have one of these in your bag, but I would probably only use these about one time of year. So is it really worth it to spend about $90 on one of these filters? To me, it's a no, because I don't do it that often, but if you are doing it that often, it is kind of neat to have it in your bag. So this is why it gets a 0.5 for one of the filters that you may need for your photography. Now, in just a second, I'm gonna get to the filter that you absolutely need to have in your bag 100% of the time. But first, I want to tell you about a free webinar to turn your passion of landscape photography into a side hustle, side income. There's a free webinar linked in the video description as well as in the pinned comment for you to check out that's going to show you exactly how to do that in a 30-day window. So if you ever dreamed of selling your own prints or starting your own photography side business, definitely check that out because it's going to show you exactly how to do that. So let's get to the last filter that you definitely need in your bag. This is the only necessary filter for your landscape photography, and that is a circular polarizer. So if you look at a circular polarizer, this is basically what it looks like. And what this little guy does is, yes, it kind of darkens your lens, but also if you spin this, it takes the glare off of the surface of the water. It helps you create interesting foregrounds in waterfall photography and river and lake photography. Anything with water needs this filter on it to remove glare off of the surface of the water. Now, you don't always have to remove glare. You can put it into portions of your photo that you think it needs that reflection, or you can twist and spin this so that it can create that glare on certain parts where you need it. This also helps if you have a lot of foliage in your photography, like glossy leaves in the foregrounds of your photo. A lot of times those can reflect a lot of light, and this circular polarizer will remove that light off of those glossy leaves. So this is basically like polarized sunglasses that you put over your lens, and it comes in handy all the time. You definitely need one of those. I'll link the one that I use in the video description for you to check out. If you want to check out more essential gear for your landscape photography, check out this playlist that's showing up on your screen right now.